Welcome to Professor DC, where literature isn't just explained, it's felt. Today, we embark on a journey through Lafcadio Hearn's incredible story, A Living God. This isn't just a story about tsunami or a village, it's about courage, foresight, and the extraordinary power of sacrifice. Imagine one man with the wisdom of ages stands between life and death for an entire village. Are you ready to deep dive into this tale? By the end, you won't just know the story, you'll feel every moment of it. So, let's begin. Picture this: you live in a small coastal village in Japan. Your days are simple, revolving around farming, fishing, and community life. The sea, which you see every day, is your friend. It gives life to the village, provides food, and is a constant source of calm. One day you look out and something feels off. The sea is behaving strangely, pulling back from the shore, leaving behind a vast, empty stretch of sand and rocks. What would you think? Most people would be confused, maybe curious, perhaps even excited to see parts of the ocean floor that are usually hidden. But for one man, this strange phenomenon is not a cause for wonder. It's a sign of impending doom. The story revolves around Hamaguchi Gohei, an old and wise leader of the village. He is not just respected, he is loved. People call him Ojisa, which means grandfather. He has lived a long life, filled with experiences of nature's unpredictable ways, and as richest man in the village, he also carries the weight of responsibility for those who live there. On the day our story begins, the village is in high spirits. They've just had a successful rice harvest and they are preparing for a festival. Banners are fluttering in the wind, lanterns are strung up, and there's excitement in the air. But Hamaguchi, standing on the balcony of his house, overlooking the sea, feels uneasy. The day has been hot and oppressive, and though there's a breeze now, something about the air doesn't feel right. Suddenly, an earthquake shakes the ground. It's a mild tremor, nothing to worry about. The villagers barely notice it, continuing with their preparation for the festival. But Hamaguchi's instincts are sharper than most. He's felt earthquakes before, and he knows that sometimes a small quake can be a warning of something much larger. As the tremor passes, Hamaguchi's eyes are drawn to the sea. He notices something that sends a chill down his spine. The sea is pulling away from the shore. It's not just a gentle ebb, it's dramatic retreat, exposing parts of the ocean floor that haven't been seen in his living memory. The villagers, unaware of the danger, rush to the beach to see what's happening. They're curious, excited, even to watch such an unusual event. But Hamaguchi knows better. He remembers stories from his ancestors, stories of the sea behaving this way before a disaster. He knows that the sea is preparing to strike back with an unimaginable force. A massive wave, a tsunami, is on its way. Now, here's a real question. Friends, what would you do in this situation? You're the only one who knows what's coming, and there's no time to explain to anyone. How would you save them? Hamaguchi's decision may seem drastic, even insane at first. He grabs a torch and sets fire to his own rice fields. His grandson, Tada, watches in horror as the flames rise. Why, grandfather? He cries. Why are you burning the rice? But Hamaguchi doesn't have time to explain. His only thought is to get the villagers away from the shore and up to the safety. He knows that the sight of his burning fields will draw them away from the beach where they are unknowingly standing in the path of destruction. As the fire spreads, the villagers see the smoke and rush up the hill to help. They are confused. Why would their wise leader destroy his own wealth? The rice represents a year's work, the lifeblood of the village. But Hamaguchi doesn't stop. He continues setting fire to the rice and all of the rice stacks, knowing that each moment counts. The villagers, panting and bewildered, gather around him, asking what's going on. Hamaguchi points towards the sea. They follow his gaze and see something that freezes them in their tracks. A massive wall of water, taller than anything they've ever seen, is rushing toward the shore. The tsunami hits with terrifying force. It crashes into the village, smashing homes, sweeping away everything in its path. The villagers standing on the hill watch in horror as their homes and fields are destroyed in seconds. The village they knew is gone, but they are alive. Thanks to Hamaguchi's quick thinking, they escaped the fate that would have claimed their lives. Imagine the shock, the disbelief. One moment they were celebrating, the next their village is gone, swallowed by the sea. How do you think the villagers felt at the moment? Their homes, their livelihood, everything was gone. But then they looked at Hamaguchi and realized that he had saved them. By setting fire to his own fields, by sacrificing his wealth, he had ensured their survival. The villagers, once confused and angry, now understood the depth of Hamaguchi's wisdom. He had acted selflessly, thinking only of their safety. As they stood on the hill, watching the destruction below, they knew that they owed their lives to him. And in that moment, Hamaguchi became more than just a leader. He became a living god in their eyes. The story doesn't end with tsunami. In the days and weeks that followed, the villagers rebuilt their lives. It wasn't easy. Help was slow to arrive, and they had lost almost everything. But they had not lost their lives, and for that, they were forever grateful to Hamaguchi. They built a temple in his honor, and even though he lived a simple life, just as he had before, the villagers began to worship him as God. They believed that his spirit was divine, that his wisdom had saved them, not just from the tsunami, but from despair. Even after Hamaguchi's death, the villagers continued to pray to him, believing that his spirit would protect them in times of trouble. Think about that for a moment. What kind of person would give up everything to save others? Hamaguchi did not hesitate, did not think twice about what he was losing. He knew what had to be done, and he did it. In today's world, where we often think about what we stand to gain, Hamaguchi's action remind us of higher kind of heroism, one that puts the lives of others above all. As we wrap up this story, ask yourself, what would you have done in Hamaguchi's place? Would you have been able to make the same sacrifice? It's easy to say yes, but when faced with such a situation, how many of us would have the courage to act? Hamaguchi's story isn't just about tsunami. It's about the kind of heroism that comes from deep within, the kind that changes lives, and in his case, even makes a man a god in the eyes of his people. Now, let's quickly revisit the story. Hamaguchi Gohei, an old and respected leader, sees the sea pulling back and understands that a tsunami is coming. To save the villagers, he sets fire to his rice fields, drawing them away from the beach and up to safety. Though the village is destroyed, the people are saved. Hamaguchi becomes a hero, and later the villagers worship him as God. This story teaches us about the sacrifice, wisdom, and true leadership. Before we end, let's test your knowledge with a quick quiz, and I would love to hear from you in the comment section. Question number 1. What a strange event did Hamaguchi notice that signaled danger? Question 2. Why did Hamaguchi set fire to his rice fields? Question 3. What was the villagers' reaction after the tsunami had passed? Question 4. What lessons can we learn from Hamaguchi's actions? These are the kind of questions that can make you think deeper about the story. And speaking of exams, here are a few important questions you might face. Question number 1. First question is, how does Hamaguchi Gohei become a hero in a living god? Question 2 that can be asked is, what is the significance of the tsunami in the story? Question 3, which is frequently asked, is, what does the title A Living God symbolize and how does it reflect Hamaguchi's role in the village? In closing, friends, remember, true greatness lies not in the wealth or power, but in the willingness to act when it matters most. Hamaguchi Gohei wasn't a hero because of what he owned, but because of what he gave up. Let's carry that lesson with us. And as always, stay curious, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next lesson here on Professor DC. I thank you and I hope you have a powerful day ahead.